How did Vector get to the prison was in Mars at the end of Despicable Me 4. Despicable Me 4 has a ton, a fantastic antagonist in a franchise that stars a villain who becomes a hero, but there is no one quite like. This is what we are going to talk about today. Big thing in the Despicable Me. Villain Community Vector manages to take the moon from Gru. Once he learns of his plans to use a shrink ray to take it, Gru takes in 3 girls as part of his revenge plan, using them to divert Vector's attention with cookies while he and the minions manage to retrieve the shrinker. Ray, it's later revealed that he is the son of Mr. Perkins, the director of Bank of Evil, who keeps refusing GR loans, so he can complete the he. In the climax, Goo manages to steal and reduce the size of the moon, but when he lands on the Earth, he finds out that Vector has taken Margot, Agnes and Edith, his adoptive daughters, hostage to gain control of the moon. Dr. Nefario and minions discover that the effects of the shrink ray are only brief, as Vector tries to flee with the moon and the girl, and the moon grows back and launches back into orbit. Gru breaks through the ship's door to save Edith and Agnes. Margot is about to jump when Vector grabs hold of her and tries to use his piranha gun to attack Gru. However, the moon collides with Vector saving Margot. The moon starts to roll around defenseless. Vector stuck to it. When the sphere takes a switch, the vehicle's rocket engine ignites, causing it to float straight up. Eventually the vehicle breaks, leaving Vector stuck on the moon. But since then, what has happened to the supervillain Vector hasn't appeared in any more films in the franchise, despite the conclusion of Despicable Me proving that he was alive on the moon. In the series, the Vector Despicable Me arc receives a studio conclusion. Gru is granted access to the files the AVL has on other villains they have tracked down over the years after being introduced to them in Despicable Me. These files, which are included in the Despicable Me 3 Blu-ray extras, appear to confirm Vector's previous report that he is stuck on the moon. Oh poop, the file also claims that he can still be seen with a telescope. It appears as though Vector is making some sort of living on the moon, though it's unclear how. With the release of Moon, a short film by Illumination in 2023, Vector's story was officially continued. The short film, which is attached to the theatrical release of Migration, seems to pick up right after the events of Despicable Me, rather than carrying Vector's story forward 13 years in Moon. This series has since added several villains, including Al Macho in Despicable Me Scarlet Overkill in Minions, and Bell Bottom in Minions. AR Rise of Goo Vector is still undoubtedly the most known and intriguing foe to face Goo and his minions. For a large portion of the film, he's able to frustrate Gru at every turn while sporting an orange tracksuit. A piranha gun and a squid launcher in the first Despicable Me film. Vector is introduced as the new greatest villain ever, after he successfully steals the pyramid of GAA without anyone noticing he's also. In Moon Jason, Siegel reprises his role as Vector, who's trying to get off the moon and land on Earth in his search for New Rut's home. He also runs into the minions again after several different strategies to escape the moon. The villain from Despicable Me eventually realizes he can do so by leaping a great distance. At first it appears to be working until he realizes that the minion in his path is the same one that drank the anti-gravity serum. The minion is not listening to Vector's request for him to move aside, and as a result the two collide, sending Vector hurling back to the moon's surface following his fruitless attempt. Vector looks through the settings for his suit and finds the bubble suit option. He activates his warm-up suit just as the minions reappear carrying the rock Vector threw earlier, realizing he can use it to float back to Earth. Unfortunately, Vector's suit overblows, bursting apart as he crashes into a big rock over and over again. After failing twice, Vector decides it's time to use his serious stuff, or his limb stretch 2.0. With his limbs extended, he proceeds to use them like a slingshot to wrap around 2 nearby rocks. Then just before launching himself, he bids the moon a mocking farewell. His attempt fails yet again. Vector tries to break free, once more by using a moon buggy he discovered on a ramp-like structure. But before he can accomplish this, he runs into a rock, which makes him wonder who thought the moon was designed so badly. With the knife and a drill, he makes futile attempts to remove the rock, causing the buggy to vibrate and move a little bit forward. With the help of a laser gun, Vector eventually manages to destroy the rock, but not before the buggy drives down the ramp and repeatedly crushes Vector after struggling to reach the same satellite he had attempted to use earlier in the L. An injured Vector discovers he can destruct his own ship by using rockets from his suit to attach to the satellite. The minion appears out of nowhere and tries to tell Vector that Gru's airship is bringing some more minions to help them. But because he's unable to understand, Vector believes the minion is requesting to travel back to Earth with him on a ship. Vector ignores the minion's attempts to clarify that this is not what he meant to say. And just then Gyar's airship and the other minions show up. Vector is too preoccupied with building his own rocket to hear their attempts to call him. so they take off and leave him behind. Likewise, Vector completes his spacecraft, and after fastening his suit to it, fires the rocket, sending him hurtling out of the moon. Initially it appears to be functioning properly, but Vector quickly realizes that Gru's airship is in his way, which causes a crash after all is said and done. He succeeds in leaving Earth's moon, but he never returns to his home planet, given that the franchise had previously implied Vector was still on. Back to Earth. Now let's go back to the ending of the moonshot, where we see that Vector has no clothes whatsoever, and this was obviously done by the studio to show us that this time he's never going to go back to Earth, because he has no clothes, and he has no equipment with which to go back to Earth with, unlike when he was on the moon when he had all of these gadgets. But in Moon, at the end of the shorts, we see an alien come to Vector, and like I said before, Vector completely ignores the guy, because first of all, he doesn't know the language that the alien is speaking. But second of all, the reason why he's doing this is because he's very angry at the fact that he was this close to going back to Earth, but he couldn't. Now, the alien is the key to go back to Earth, because the alien, as we see at the end of the short, has a spaceship that carries the minions back to Earth, supposedly. Why? Because we don't see the end of this. We are not really shown how this whole thing ends. The short ends, right, with the minions and the alien leave it, but we don't see them actually. If you enjoyed the video, you can choose between two options on the screen to watch more videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will see you in the next video.